and everyone fails in life. It's not about failure, but if your history is only failing in these projects, generally that doesn't get you promoted and promoted and promoted.
Yeah, I agree with
but
you.
There doesn't seem to be that accountability here. So and there doesn't seem to be the business background amongst. Yes, they've got the qualifications, but I always use the analogy: if you've got an MBA, can you fly an airplane?
No.
Can you do brain surgery? Because these are businesses. These are vocational things, right?
True.
You need the skills.
Yes.
So we can't scale up by collecting the data in every country because it's just not possible.
It's hard.
So we'll just partner with
it's possible but hard. Yeah.
We'll partner with the companies. So first of all, Vietnam, then Japan will partner with the companies there. So I think it's the big step for us going international. I think it matters a lot because no one's ever done it before.
Kapan Komar? 2 Mei pada libur kan?
Next week.
Long weekend, right?
Next week's 4 days, I think. Weekend.
Yeah, it's on Monday, Tuesday. Hang on, Monday, Tuesday, right? Minggu depan tuh.
But it's only Tuesday that's a holiday.
But Monday, we make the Monday holiday too.
You know what?
Lesson learned.
Just to give you a clue. Every day, people think I'm crazy, but every day we have a holiday, it costs me over 10 grand.
Nah, guys.
US dollars.
Okay,
$10,000 a day in the office. And people wonder why I walk around, oh, it's another holiday.
Okay, let me put some moral
I even
story
posted on the other day on May Day. Happy May Day. Oh, bloody holiday.
Welcome back! This is the second time for me, but the first time kamar komar in English. I hope this is not the last time, because you're our first British guest.
Really?
First foreign guest. Yeah, we have like local guests. Now you have a British guest, which is Martin Terpilowski. Did I say it right?
Terpilowski, yes.
Terpilowski. Yay!
But just Martin is fine. I think it's
Martin.
quite hard.
Martin is a very British name.
Yep.
Chris Martin. Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King's American.
But still, he's very famous in England.
Yes,
anyway,
he is.
So welcome
Correct.
to Kamar Komar. As you can see, this is our room. Kalau di bahasa Inggrisnya jelek ya, Kamar Komar, Komar's bedroom.
It's nice.
It's not. Like, just call it Kamar Komar as a brand. Behind you is Jakarta's traffic right now. Are you sad looking at that? Do you regret living in Indonesia for
No.
how many years now?
No. It's okay.
He's been in
That's
Indonesia.
the traffic's the least of my problems.
That's our main problem. Hang on. How long have you lived in this country?
Nearly 7 years.
7 years.
Nearly, yeah.
That's long. If it's a kid, it's already in elementary school.
Yep.
But I hope you enjoy living here.
It's okay. Well, I live in BSD.
The people are friendly.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's definitely true. But I live in BSD, so it's more of a like Singapore vibe.
Yeah, I agree. It's not really Jakarta.
It's like retirement home, right?
It's Tangerang Selatan.
Yeah.
It's Tangerang. Sorry, Tangsel atau Tangerang Selatan BSD? Tangsel, right? It's Tangsel. It's not Jakarta, but it's almost Jakarta.
I used to live in Setiabudi, but it's just too noisy for me.
Setiabudi.
I've lived in Setiabudi Sky Garden. It just drives me crazy, too loud.
That's what I was trying to say, but you said it, so I don't have to say anything.
So I ended up moving to the countryside. My office is out there as well. So
okay, so it's convenient for you to live nearby the office, right? You don't have to go.
Except when I have to go to podcasts in
This is so Kamar Komar is very special. I tell you that because Martin is willing to travel from BSD to Jakarta untuk Kamar Komar.
To be honest, I used to travel here a lot to do sales meetings and stuff.
Yeah.
But now our team is more mature, so I don't need to be involved in everything.
That's nice.
I'm more involved on the
That's nice.
strategic side of things.
Talk about your team. Let's talk about your business. Bumi Varta Technology. We call it BVT,
Yeah.
Okay. What about that? Can you tell the audience what the business is about, what the vision is?
Right. So, first of all, I have no background in this kind of business. I was in finance for many years. And through conversations with various people 7 or 8 years ago, I got this idea that there was quite a lot of potential in Indonesia because Indonesia has huge amounts of data, but it's all over the place. Sure. Indonesia is also logistically challenged, many islands, and all these kind of things archipelago. So all these things that we thought if you can actually put all this data in one platform and then build in machine learning with this data. So just imagine any kind of data you look at, telco data, we can visualize that data on our platform and then use machine learning and AI to make predictions on that. And this is before it all became everybody's an AI expert. I'm not an AI thought leader. I'm not an AI evangelist like everyone claims to be now. We were using this kind of software since the very beginning. And we've progressed. We started, and it's very hard because when you first explain what we do, nobody was using this type of software.
Okay.
In Indonesia. And certainly not. There were some contractors here using foreign software, but actually building their own, it was very difficult because we didn't have any use cases.
Okay.
So we go knock on the door and say, right, we want to help you expand your business, with using technology to benefit benefit your shareholders. You can make money from this because we believe we can increase your revenue, we can cut your costs.
Yeah, make everything more efficient.
But people like at that time, these guys they've been doing business for years. I remember sat down with Mr. Sosro. We used to have the same personal trainer in the.
Sosro is a family business.
Family
FYI.
business, yeah, family
which
business.
Is very potential for you, I think.
It is. So I just remember talking to the old man, going back 5 or 6 years, and just saying, and I know his grandson and stuff, but in those days. They were just like, we already know what we're doing. We've got the experience already. Why do we need something like this, Martin? Too early for Indonesia. And that was the general story we received when we started. But luckily we got a few early clients like Genji Jiwa and XXI, the cinema group.
You also go with ST Indonesia, right?
Yeah, that's more now. But early doors, the first two were Copy Genji Jiwa as it was then, XXI Cinema. And I think the good thing was, in that case, both Pak Billy and Pak Arif, they understood what we were doing. So they studied overseas, they had some idea of what we were doing. So they'd looked at this kind of thing before but couldn't find it. So it was a bit easier to sell to them. And that we needed that for use cases. Yeah. So because basically it's always anything which is linked, every decision you make in a business, the people say location. And this could be where you open the new store. And also you need to have your operational, work out sales projections. But also for FMCG, they need to have the data on the toko kelontong.
Oh, and the customer's behavior.
Yeah, so basically there's a big problem to solve there. Yeah. The problem is it's a bit different than most of the startups in Indonesia because it's not something you can blow up the valuation on the size of the population. Yeah. I'm not dealing with MSMEs like everybody wants to. I don't think I can make money out of it. I have a different section. I know everyone says this is the next thing. Yes, there is 5 million or however million people keep telling me how to make money out of it. So my business is based, we sell our software to large corporations. We sell our software to the government. Okay. And we don't give away freemiums and anything like this. It doesn't work. Yeah. I had a business background before in finance. I told people years ago that you will struggle once you launched a product which was promo driven. Yeah. You will struggle to ever get over the hill and ever make any changes to that because people will become dependent on that. Yeah. And especially if the product has a very low barrier to entry, this is where somebody else can come along and offer discounts if they have some money from investors, etc. So our business is a very much a B2B and a B2G business using basically what we call location intelligence software.
Okay, so what you're saying is based on your finance background and now you're moving to technology, it seems like a different thing, but now you explain it, it seems like very relevant to you because you're looking from the business point of view, right? That's why you're selling your product.
I think there's, this upsets a lot of people, but I think there is not very many investment professionals in Indonesia who have worked outside of Indonesia and understand how markets will work. So I've never invested in the private markets before. Okay. But I was investing in listed securities for many years, in IPOs,
which is relevant right now, right?
Of course, we have to look at basically things. You look at it and does it make sense? Yeah. And when I came here and I looked at business models and people, I was an investor here originally, and the plan was to invest in several companies. I ended up investing in one company and growing that company. Yeah. But my plan was to invest in several. But I was challenged with a lot of it because I didn't see how, giving stuff away and then going back to charge people never works. Yeah. It's never worked anywhere in the world. So this concept here that people were going around saying we've got 40,000 clients, 40,000 active users. Yeah, you can get that if you give it away for free. But when you go back in a year's time, are they willing to even pay you $1? Yeah. And I think there was so many people, I say, drinking the Kool-Aid too long. And I think a lot of them learned this, by the way, in the US universities. Yeah. I think there's Reid Hoffman, and the founder of LinkedIn, he's teaching blitzscaling at Chicago Booth, one of the best universities in the world. Yes. So all these guys who've got MBAs from Chicago Booth, they come back thinking blitzscaling's the way. Yeah. The issue is with blitzscaling, Reid Hoffman's offering that to a global audience. LinkedIn was the first in its game. Totally different in Indonesia when there's number one, there's a language thing for starters, so it's not, you can't just take this globally straight away. So these companies, can they be a global unicorn here? We still haven't really got a global unicorn. I'm trying to do it. Other people are trying to do it, but it's still a challenge. English language, US,
Yeah.
a higher GDP per capita, he can charge for the product, right? So,
Yes,
so him telling everyone else in the world you can do this, it's not the same.
Yeah.
And also he remember that was him and like Zuckerberg, them guys were early doors. They were like, they did it quickly. They did it at a time where there was far less VC money.
Yes.
And far less people wanted to be founders.
Yes.
So in those days, not everybody left university, I want to be a founder, I want to be a VC.
Yeah.
Nearly everyone with a US education background from Indonesia, I see, wants to be a founder or a VC, which theoretically isn't really possible. And also you have the same thing. I mean, you have the round and round here. One of the issues is you take your company bankrupt,
Yeah.
you become an advisor at a venture capital fund.
Yes.
There is no accountability at all.
There's no such thing as bad track record.
No bad track record. I mean,
As a human, you
there's
have-
several founders of companies that have gone bankrupt here that are advisors to the government.
Yeah.
And
Because they have the potential. They
Nobody
have the-
questions this situation. So
Yeah, they have the experience. They're considered as an expert, right?
they have experience of losing.
They're
Yes.
considered as an expert.
Yes.
And they failed.
And of course, and everyone fails in life. It's not about
Yeah.
failure, but if your history is only failing in these projects, generally that doesn't get you promoted and promoted and promoted.
Yeah, I agree with
but
you.
there doesn't seem to be that accountability here. So and there doesn't seem to be the business background amongst. Yes, they've got the qualifications, but I always use the analogy: if you've got an MBA, can you fly an airplane?
No.
Can you do brain surgery? Because these are businesses. These are
Yeah.
vocational things, right?
True.
You need the skills.
Yes.
So how are we getting a situation where we've got people without the experience and without the skills? Because if you go to Hong Kong, Singapore, Tokyo, the people running the big finance businesses are all late 30s earliest with at least 10 years track record.
Yeah.
At least 10 years. And the guys who are big, 20, 30 years track record.
Then they are the experts.
And they've been doing it for years. And and if they don't do well, they get removed. There isn't, even you look at these super wealthy Hong Kong families. I used to work at family office. I call the shots, not the family, because they didn't have the experience. And they know that.
Yeah.
They hire the
aware.
bankers
Yeah.
who, they're not stupid enough to waste money. They hire the people who've got the experience to do it.
And they trust them.
And they
because of
trust
the experience.
If you look at Hong Kong, Hong Kong, you look at the boards of some businesses like Sun Hung Kai and Jardines, it's still got a lot of boulet on the boards. Who 2020. Even Vietnam, you look at the big private equity businesses there.
Yeah.
It's run by ex-Goldman Sachs guys.
So-
it's not just run by people's friends and family,
Okay. So for BVT itself, based on your background, based on your passion and potential that we have, what do you think makes it different than your competitor? You have competitors, right, BVT?
We have competitors, but it's a bit different because the scale up is different. It's not a business that's sexy for the venture capitalists. So if you look at the people who we compete with, they might have 10 staff.
Yeah, it's about typical startup companies.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get funding from VC. Most of them are academics as well.
Yeah.
They are smart people, by the way. These are not, and that's the problem.
They're good in research.
They're ITB, they're UGM. The problem is they're not MBA from US. So that's the venture capital world is different. It's different. These guys don't know how to speak to venture capitalists.
Yeah.
And I don't either. I've had a few conversations with these guys, and it blew my mind. Luckily, I didn't need to. Right? I didn't need to be involved.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people out there who have got this ability, technically, but don't have the ability to raise the money because they don't know who to talk to, etc.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I'm kind of lucky in my business because there isn't a lot of venture funding going into this type of business. Every so often a VC guy calls me or contacts me, and I open to listen to them. But it's quite hard for them because they like to call all the shots. Me and my partners already have a lot of experience, so we're not really interested in taking advice of somebody with no experience. So yes, we have competitors, but I said the difference is most competitors have 10 people. We have 160 people.
Which is more established and more.
Yeah, of course. People are more likely to take the risk, aren't they?
Yeah.
We partner with people like Accenture and Microsoft now. Of course, it takes a long time. And we'll launch our product in June, and which can go global, basically.
Was that Lokasi one?
Lokasi 4 in June.
Oh,
so
okay.
our fourth version.
This June?
June, yeah.
Next month.
Next month. Well, this will be a software that we can use in other countries. So we've opened in Vietnam now, and I'm opening in Japan on June the 1st.
And I heard you're moving to Singapore. No, not moving.
The head office potentially moving to Singapore. I'm also trying to use that as leverage because we've done local content like I was asked to do. And very little support.
And Singapore is more beneficial for you in terms of that.
Singapore, every startup here that you think is a local Indonesian startup is head office in Singapore.
Yeah, I agree with
We're one of the few.
I have some friends who
we're one of the few who is
remotely, but actually Singapore.
Yeah, we're one of the few who are not. And we did that because my original partner insisted on Indonesia. But there is so many complications regarding the local content, which everyone talks about. I fulfill.
Yeah.
But what benefit am I getting?
Yep.
What benefit am I getting from paying all my taxes in Indonesia, from doing everything? When I'm just in Indonesia, but I'm going to open in at least 2 countries next year. What is the benefit of having the head office here? Now, I've invited, ministers to my office on several occasions, and they haven't come. So I turn up in Vietnam, the government picked me up. You know what I mean? They want you. I think if you're not part of a small crew here, nobody cares.
True.
And at the end of the day,
not many are aware.
At the end of the day, coming for, how many Indonesian companies are making their own software? And how many Indonesian companies are taking software overseas? Hardly any I'm aware of, right? So and I'm quite loud. So how come these people don't even care about it? I don't know. But they put their full support behind, Tiny Hub and e-fishery and stuff without looking at the numbers, because I'm sorry, anyone with half a brain could have told you that their numbers made no sense.
Yeah. I agree with you.
They claim to have a higher revenue than Chiputra Group.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. In such a short time, doesn't make sense.
It's not just a short time. It's the same problem. The clientele. I know. I've tried many over the last few years. People have constantly tried to get me to. Oh man, we need to support MSME. We need to support MSME. They don't pay.
They do it for free.
It's very fashionable doing it. It's the fashionable thing. You try getting money off MSME. All these people who've tried to lend money to farmers or lend money to fishermen, it's gone wrong. It's gone wrong,
they're the victim, to be honest with you. I mean, the farmers and the fishermen are the victim.
They are the victim, but I think that to an extent, I mean, they got a business pushed on them that they probably didn't fully understand. And then on top of that, somebody went up to them and offered them free money.
Which is sad. And for them, it's something interesting, right? Which is, culturally and educationally based, they're not really aware of what they're facing. What they need is just the money, and then they take advantage of that.
Of course, but
which is sad.
The whole thing is a bit of a, strange one. How ever so much capital has been raised into these businesses, and I think it shows the issue that people are raising capital. You need to keep raising capital to get the unicorn status.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the performance of the company. Yes. It's to do with how much money you've raised, which is a problem. This is a serious problem, that you can value your company on however much you raised, not how much revenue you're making.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't make sense to any anyone who's done capital markets before.
Yeah.
So when I was asked to participate in some of the IPOs here of the big unicorns as a buy before at a block of, I was asked by people, and somebody mentioned to me, should I do this? Ask my advice on this. I said no, because the minute capital markets get involved with this, no one cares who they're related to anymore. No one cares, and this is going to get hammered in capital markets because it doesn't make sense. Because the numbers, their valuation is based on how much money they've raised.
Yeah.
They paid all their staff. They paid all their staff too much. That's why for 2 years I couldn't get anyone decent, because I were getting outbid 300% by startups that were losing money. They were burning the money. And then it's going round and round in circles, and it's just like, we're worth more. Now, this is why I think this is why we're seeing that the founder of eFishery and the founder of Investry are not in prison, because they were in this. They were fully. Everybody else knew what was going on. It was. How many? These people are senior level people. Do you really think this guy from Bandung ripped off some of the most established families? Because two of them are two of the most established families in the country.
Yes.
Forget Tamasek.
They're very
ripped off
famous.
two of the most established families in this country. Are just letting this go, are they?
Yeah.
Sound likely? Doesn't sound likely to me. Doesn't sound likely to any outsider. And when I've asked this to deputy minister, they're just like, oh yeah, okay, let's go. Let's leave this.
That's why they were known for their breakthrough of bringing up and level up the fishery and the fishermen in Indonesia, because that's the market of Indonesia. You know what I mean?
The market is everybody.
And they make it as a commodity.
Of course, it became everybody's talking about financial inclusion.
Yeah.
And I always look at it like this: the richest man in this country owns the biggest bank in this country.
Yeah.
Do you not think he's had McKinsey looking at this already? This isn't disruption.
Obviously.
He didn't want to get into that market.
Yeah.
Because he knew that if you lend money to people who've got no money,
you're
never
not
get it back
anything.
again.
Exactly, you're not gonna get anything.
I've got a friend of mine. He's like,
should be something shady and known already in the beginning, right? But they weren't aware of it.
I've got a friend, and he's the same age as me, and he lives back in my hometown, and he asked to borrow $10,000 off me, and he said, "Can I borrow $10,000? I'll give you it back in the year.
In a year.
I'll give you 10%. I'll give you 11,000 back." And I just said to him, if you haven't got $10,000 at 47, how are you going to have 11,000 at 48? That's the reality.
That's a common sense for a business.
What's the chance of getting that money back?
Yeah, I agree with you.
And you know, and it's all right to say, and giving this money out, everyone's saying, oh, we've got credit scoring and all this. It's obviously not working because but again, the aim was different. The aim was to get a valuation up. And again, this is what the difference is between the US and here. Whatever you think of some of these startups in the US, unless they've been kicked out, Uber and WeWork, where the founders were kicked out. Most of the founders of the startup companies are still there.
Yes.
Zuckerberg,
because
Hoffman.
They're the soul of the company.
They are there.
Yeah.
Whereas here, they're all getting out as quick as they can. If you thought your company was going to go to this level, why are you all getting out? Why are all these guys out before the IPO?
Because they have better offer outside.
Because it happens
to one of our startups. Remember, 6 years ago, the CEO of Gojek left his chair as CEO.
They all do.
They went
None of them, and now they're all
Minister of Education.
Of course. And then you've got other ones doing venture capital now.
Yeah.
While the company that they were the founder of
yeah.
is actually failing in some respects. So you've got this situation where people are not, it's very hard to build a generational business when nobody's sticking with it.
I agree.
You know, when everybody's just getting in, getting out, getting the money in, getting the money out.
Especially with the technology moving forward.
I went to see my banker in Singapore in UBS, and then the next meeting was with a founder here. Now, how the hell's he got? My banker's complaining because I take money out of the company. I'm taking money out of UBS every month.
You're mean to them.
I'm mean to them. I'm taking money out. How are these guys who've got startups here? Because they're selling their shares to all the VCs. That's why there's no big shenanigans. Because what's happened with a lot of these startups, if there hadn't been a whistleblower on e-fishery, it would have just carried on. It would carry on.
It keeps on moving on until...
The plan is to get the IPO and then dump it on somebody else, right?
Which is a crime. It's a financial crime.
So there's two things here. There's one thing's fraud.
Yeah.
One thing's fraud, and then there's another thing. The other thing is pump and dump. Is that fraud as well?
Yes.
Because all the IPOs have been pump and dump, and how much do we not know about them? Because let's face it, Grab IPO'd in the US in SPAC market. Singapore would never allow Grab to IPO there because the numbers didn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, is there any real difference? Like, you see by the lack of action being taken against these startups. I read the article a few weeks ago in Bloomberg from Gibran, and actually, if you read it, it sounded like he got caught cheating on his homework. It won't happen again.
You're talking about the vice president?
Yeah, that's what. No.
Okay.
No.
Just
e-fishery guy.
Cheating on homework.
But it seemed like he. No. It sounded like he cheated on his homework. Now, I don't know the guy, but the way he wrote. Now, I think what's clear, he was not totally innocent because his salary at the end was 1.2 billion. So
which doesn't make sense.
A month.
It doesn't make sense.
A month. So he must have known that doesn't make sense, does it? So, but there's so many things that don't make sense. I mean, I'd love to know the whole secondary market. How many were getting dumped each along the way? Some because it's a very strange setup, I think. Yeah.
True. So let's go back to your product then. Let's say Lokasi Intelligence, your flagship, one of your flagships.
Yeah.
Because I believe it's a very trustworthy app. Would you say that? What do you think of the next step of this Lokasi apps? Because now it's starting to build the awareness, and then it has its credibility now. It's starting to be...
It's B2B, so it's hard, right?
Yeah.
We can't pay for influencers or...
You can pay... You can't even pay ads for that,
We can't dance on TikTok. It won't work, right?
Oh, you can, just to raise awareness. Especially if you can make some kind of event. We'll do something.
We do an event, but we invite like top people to the event. But it's B2B is harder, right? I mean, LinkedIn works for us. You've got to be a bit out there, a bit different. You've got to be willing to put yourself out there.
B2B is more like a customer service that you're really up-leveling, right? Yeah. You want to make them happy so they can promote it.
And for us, getting to the right people because
that's what I mean.
There's a lot of blockages along the way.
Yeah.
What we sell, some people will see as a threat to their job. So, often we'll see mid-level people, and they'll be like, no, thank you.
Yeah, but
you need to go to the top people sometimes.
But if it's like a decision maker, it's easier for you.
I think with us, we've got to always improve. The R&D has got to improve. We've got to. There's always challenges with collecting money on time and stuff. In this,
it's an issue
in the B2. It's not just here though. I mean, again, we talk about BUMN. It's problematic, but there's international companies that have
same thing.
A lot of them are 120 days. Big companies.
It's 4 months.
4 months. And that's for a company, I'm talking about $1 billion companies, some of the biggest in the world. And I find that like ludicrous. because we're already providing a service for them, and that's another reason there's not many competitors in the B2B space, unless you've got financing where you can borrow millions of dollars
or you have
cheaply.
to spike your money there already.
Unless you've got your own money or you've got financing where you can borrow $1 million
which is not many companies are like that.
No, because the interest as well. If you pay 3% a month on supply chain finance. It's not possible for most companies to. So I think there's challenges like that we're trying to improve on and stuff. But I think the main thing is making the software robust enough to go international. Is what we're trying to do now.
Because it's geospatial.
Well, I spent a long time in Japan, and so I think that, and also when we go to other countries, our system is slightly different. Here we collect all the data ourselves. When we're in other countries, we will partner with data partners. So you just plug in your data.
Yes.
So we're talking to lots of different companies, like all the telco companies, Viettel in Vietnam,
government
NTT, Docomo, and the guys have got a meeting today with Visa. About working with them across the region. So I think the idea will be we focus more on the software than the data, and then we plug in the data. Because there's lots of people collecting data. It's very expensive and a lot of hassle.
Yes.
But when it comes to actually building the software to manage the data, there's very few players. And we can't scale up by collecting the data in every country because it's just not possible.
It's hard.
So we'll just partner with hard. We'll partner with the companies. So first of all, Vietnam, then Japan will partner with the companies there. So I think it's the big step for us going international. I think it matters a lot because no one's ever done it before. And I think the real challenge, and it's hard to do, and a lot of the software here is built what they call monolithic, i.e. you can't keep changing it, it's not modular. And our software originally was built like that by my original partners. But now we've got a new team, a better team, and mostly here, but some in Vietnam as well. And they built a totally modular system, so we can change it in countries very easily, right? Most software stacks in here, I'm not a software person, what I gather don't work like that. So to be able to go regionally, and I think it will also help us in relation to like problem times. Like, I'll be honest, the last 2 months are very hard for us. Ramadan's a very hard month for a business here. It's very hard. I mean, I'm not being offensive or anything, it's very hard to run a business. You have a lot of holidays, and you have to pay double salaries at the same time.
People are focusing on life after death.
So before
focus on Dunia.
Well, so before February, we get February, and people say, "Oh, after Idul Fitr."
Yeah, you'll live again. It's
after
like
Idul Fitr.
Hey, wake up!
Hang on. So then, 2 months, and at that time I have to pay double salaries.
Yeah.
Double salaries with 160 people.
For THR, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
hire non-Muslim employees, Martin.
Hang on a minute. I've tried my best now. No. We pay THR to everyone, not just the Muslims.
No. Just kidding.
One of the ideas was split it, so we paid half at Christmas.
Yes.
But my account said it was hassle, so
of course
we stuck to this. But yeah, it is quite a difficult time.
Yeah,
and I think also if we have operations in various countries, that will take some risk out of that.
True, I agree. You have to think of many aspects and many perspectives.
So every country has holidays, but not all at the same time. So during Ramadan, for example, next year, I've got my Vietnam business coming in. I've got my Japan. I can just relax.
Let's just chill for a bit.
Yeah.
Let's go there.
Because it should be a good time for me.
After Idul Fitr, you go back here, back to work.
Yeah, it should be a good time for me because I've got some time off. But I'm so bloody stressed. I'm like, oh my God, no money coming in, lots of money going out. It's just like bleeding.
That's not only your business, just to make you.
Well, I know it's not.
Happier.
I understand that, but I guess a lot of the VC-backed startups have had money to throw around that wasn't theirs, right?
I get what you mean.
But it's quite hard, and then. Again, some other things here which confuse you. The two different kinds of holidays that nobody really understands. It's just like a scam. Just if the bule doesn't realize,
guys, katanya libur di Indonesia katanya scam. Padahal kita menikmati ya, apalagi hari kejepit
That days, and then there's the other days which are not really holidays, but the government says if you're a nice guy, you can give it off.
Cuti bersama.
Well,
it's together leave. What do you call it? General leave. Apa cuti bersama? Live together.
Well, just leave.
Cuti bersama.
It's a scam for me.
I know, but that's common in here.
I know it's common in here, but again, it comes back to on a competitive basis. How is Indonesia going to get to be competitive globally when there's like there's more 4-day weeks than 5-day weeks?
Even like today, the day we shoot ya, ini kawan Komar kita syutingnya tanggal 2 Mei. Ya, tanggal 2 Mei itu adalah Harpitnas, Hari Kejepit Nasional. Yesterday was a May Day, and tomorrow is Saturday, so today is like a squeeze day. People choose to I'm not gonna work today unless except us. Okay, people choose not to work today, FYI. Tanggal 2 Mei, go back to your calendar right now. Kawan Komar. 2 Mei pada liburan.
No, next week.
Long weekend, right?
Next week's 4 days, I think. Weekend.
Yeah, it's on Monday, Tuesday. Hang on, Monday, Tuesday, right? Minggu depan tuh.
But it's only Tuesday that's a holiday.
But Monday, we make the Monday holiday too.
You know what?
Lesson learned.
Just to give you a clue. Every day, people think I'm crazy, but every day we have a holiday, it costs me over 10 grand.
Nah, guys.
US dollars.
Okay,
$10,000 a day.
Let me
in
put
the office, and people wonder why I walk around. Oh, it's another holiday.
Hang on, let me put some moral
I even
stories
posted.
here.
I even posted on the other day on May Day. Happy May Day. Oh, bloody holiday.
Lesson learned ya guys, bahwa ada hikmahnya kita tuh hari kejepit nasional, cuti bersama tuh nikmati. Karena ada orang yang stres di balik liburan itu, right?
Super stressful.
When everyone is having fun and being blissful by that day, you are stressed.
Yeah, just say it.
So enjoy it, guys.
I always used to go in the office and go, did I tell you guys? I hate Idul Fitri. I hate this. I went, Mudik, don't come back.
Okay. Anyway, let's go to your next strategy, which is going international. Singapore and Vietnam. Tell me about.
Well, no.
Vietnam first.
It'll be the head office potentially in Singapore, and that's for a regional base. Even like your big player like what's it called? A lot of the big Vietnam players even put their headquarters in Singapore. Most of the startups have got their headquarters in Singapore from here even.
They're a very efficient country to be honest with you.
I've avoided it because of this local content thing. I wanted to try to really fit, but as I said, I mean, until somebody can show me what benefits I'm getting, and which I've tried to discuss with ministers, etc., it's a problem. So potentially, and also for if I go global, I may need. We haven't got VC investors, but I probably avoid that, but. We will need maybe big family offices. They are more comfortable investing in Singapore, again because of various matters. So that will be the head office, but
operational?
Operational will still be majority
Indonesia.
here because we've still got plus Vietnam a bit. But then we will the first two countries we're going to sell our product in is Vietnam, which we're doing already, and Japan. And again, our strategy will be different. We will work with partners there.
Yeah.
So this is not me knocking on doors.
It's your team.
We've got a 5-year, not even my team, we've got a 5-year track record now, so I can go to like distributors like NEC and ask them to sell our product. So in Vietnam, Viettel Solutions will sell our product.
Yeah.
For example, I won't be going knocking on doors, sitting outside coffee shops.
Yeah, it's
in
like
Plaza
automatic business for you right now. You've built.
Once you've got your even here we deal with Metrodata now.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Metrodata 5 years ago, and they laughed in my face. We don't deal with startups, and we don't do Indonesian companies.
But now
they'll do it. Now they'll do it right.
Hang on, let them give some effects on you.
No, I wouldn't say it's that much. But they will work with us now. Where a lot of these people wouldn't. Like Microsoft work with us, Accenture work with us. They wouldn't 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So in Vietnam to go there, we've got the product already. We're not saying I've got this great idea. We've already got 70 clients. It's the use cases is quite significant now. So I think it's that the approach will be very different. I spent a lot. The reason we got Japan actually is a bit different. Japan's demographically, people will be aware that there isn't a lot of expansion going on. Okay. But Japan has a very top-down approach. So all decisions are made in Tokyo. So I want to deal with these big corporates like Uniqlo, but I want to deal with them regionally. But I have to go to the top people. So my partners in this business are Japanese. So we have the top tier connections there already. It's a bit different than here. The connections is like not political, nothing to do with politics, but business connections.
Straight business.
Straight business connections.
So talk about like different operation and then even different headquarters. You know that the market will be different and the culture will be different. To what extent do you think it's important for you to understand and adjust your service in different countries?
Well, I mean, for sure. I mean, no one has ever seen what we do so much in Indonesia. It's quite new. Vietnam as well, it's very new. We went to see Viettel. Viettel is the biggest telco. They'd never seen anything like it. Exactly the same.
So it takes harder for you to convince them?
At first it was hard to convince, but once we've got the 5-year track record, it's easier. Japan's a different market. There is competitors. There are big competitors in Japan.
So you have to be outstanding against...
You've got to do it on price, or you've got to do it one way or the other, price or quality. We're trying to do a bit of the both. Obviously, price-wise, we'll be able to beat those who build this in Tokyo.
Okay, be reasonable in terms of setting
price will be, of course, because the biggest competitors are building in Tokyo.
Yeah.
And that's kind of expensive,
And that's the busiest one, right?
It is.
I mean, the most potential one.
Yeah, the potential's there because for the global brands, but I think Japan will be twofold. One of the reasons going there is because I have a lot of connections there. I spent 12 years there myself.
And they're very welcome with technology, right? They're very
and that's the challenge. That's the challenge. That's why we are now launching LI4 because what the Indonesian and Vietnamese market might think this is fantastic.
To them, it's common.
Japan have seen it already, so we need to make it. We've got to make it better. We've got to improve things. So I think that's
challenging to me.
Well, it's challenging, but that's everything, isn't it? I think again, they're all challenging. And some people said to me, "Why are you expanding in Vietnam? Why are you expanding in Japan before you get everything stable? People owe you money." But I think for me, having operation in several countries actually cuts your risk in some respects, because then you don't have the same problems all the time. You don't have it'll fluctuate at the same time. You've got other things going on in various places, because at the moment I'm so reliant on, like, when there's an election here, for example, last year everything stops.
Yes.
Again, everything stopped last year, February. Everything stops. You know what I mean? So
everyone becomes politician.
Everyone's not a politician. Because
politician.
as I say, in politics. If I got a call,
it's everywhere, right?
Well, if I got a call tomorrow and they said to me, "Right, can you come back, boss? We'll give you $1 million a year to be the UK Prime Minister," I would laugh down the phone at them.
But you're gonna go there.
I'm not. I'm gonna laugh down the phone.
Why?
No interest. Zero interest. Zero interest in. I can make a lot more money doing this.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to be a politician.
Ini bedanya kawan Komar, bedanya pengusaha beneran dengan orang yang pengusaha yang pengen sambil cawe-cawe ya, hasan efeknya masuk ya. I mean, that's the difference between some people. Some entrepreneurs are very interested in having political standings. Really?
Yeah.
No, I think some countries are like that.
Elon Musk has just done it. Right, I'll tell you now. Elon Musk has just done it, and I bet he wishes he hadn't. It's ruined his business. Mostly, entrepreneurs will keep all out politics in general.
Normally entrepreneurs will just be entrepreneurs, right? They're not going to be involved with any government or political thing unless it's tax.
But here everything's
everything's
political.
Mixed.
Well, of course.
But you're going to be one of those
half
people.
Half the politicians' kids are doing VCs.
One day you're gonna be involved in that thing. Trust
me. In politics.
Because Martin, you're famous.
I've got lots
and people will be targeting you as part of their team.
But it's a different mentality completely.
I know, but just get ready for it.
My friend is one of the biggest financiers in Asia, and he's my partner in this business. He's never going to be a politician in Japan. He's not interested. He lives in Hong Kong because he's a tax profile. Nobody knows who he is. He's with billions. Nobody knows who he is. It's just a complete different thought process.
I know, but
we have zero interest in politics.
But the message for me, okay, just keep this as your friendly note one day, okay? You'll be involved. You'll be offered that position one day.
Well, which country?
Just remember
I'm English for starters, and English people.
Well, Danantara has some foreign dombina.
Oh, I'll give you a clue. I give you a clue.
Advisor.
I'll give you a clue. I won't be invited on there.
Nanti dipotong ya.
I can confirm that at this moment in time. Maybe I should be, but I can confirm I won't be.
Nanti dipotong ya adegan ini ya, takutnya backfire. Let's see, Martin.
Let's see.
Just call me if you finally on that position.
I'll get you as my agent.
Okay, let's go back to geospatial technology. How potential do you think this business is going to be in the future? Now everybody talks about technology. ChatGPT is their friend. These will be useful.
ChatGPT.
It's not. I mean, that's their best friend. This generation.
Yeah, every single person sends me an email. It sounds exactly the same.
It's generated by the same machine, of course.
I know, it's raw.
Are you annoyed by that?
I hate it, yeah.
I
hate AI, yeah.
Generation gap.
I am sick of chatbots, and I am sick of. I thought it was funny, the guy in the Philippines who recently, I don't know if you saw the story, recently a Filipino guy got arrested because he apparently had the best chatbot in the world. And people could not understand how he's got a better chatbot than all these big open AI and everything. And when he'd raised like 30 million from VCs, and somebody must have done an investigation into him, and they found there was like 300 people in a warehouse in Manila. Actually, it wasn't AI at all, it was people. Because people are cheaper than AI in Asia.
True.
And a lot cheaper, not slightly cheaper, a lot cheaper.
They're more organic.
So and they're more better because they're better.
Because he's human.
So he's got these people pretending to be AI, and he's raised money off the AI. So the VCs are taking him to court because actually the service is better, but because it's not AI, the valuation isn't 300 million.
Yeah.
Kind of weirdest thing ever.
It's cheaper,
so the service is better. Everybody's happy. But because he's raised money as an AI company, he's now getting caught defrauding investors, right? But I think when it comes to, everyone lumps all AI together, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is just a way of saying, I understand if your second language is English, but I think the concern to me is everything sounds the same now. Everything just boring.
And it's not original anymore, right?
And it's
to you, it's not personal.
It's too superlatives. The wording is too superlative. And sometimes I just don't, and everyone talk about chatbot. Chatbots irritate me. Sometimes they see me in the office arguing with a BNI chatbot. I just thought, fucking call me, mate. I'm just like, I am not talking to
They
chatbots.
use it for many purposes. Like if when you're sad, you chat GPT it. When you're in a business, you chat GPT it.
I don't use it at all, me personally. But I do understand why people use it for. But I don't think what people got to understand is it's a trendy word to use. Everyone's doing an AI startup, but let's look at the reality. One of the biggest loss-making companies in the world is OpenAI. It's burning money. It is one of the biggest. They've just about to raise another 40 billion. It doesn't make sense.
People are using it for free.
People are using it for free.
No wonder they're using low quality results.
People are using things for free, and this is the problem with all this. Unless you can monetize it somewhere down the line, what is the point? Now, for me, the use of AI in our business is something specifically for our business. We've got lots of data to be able to. If we had people looking at that data, it would cost a lot of money. Like McKinsey or something looking at that data would take months. We just have a software which can take a few minutes to analyze the data. That's a useful use of machine learning and AI. Now, when it comes to geospatial is, it's a growing sector, but it's not a sexy sector. AI is sexy. People said to me I should change my website to Locasi AI. Even Booking.com is now Booking.ai. They're all doing this like I think it's...
Like it's a fancy word.
For me,
It's not.
I think it's going to be overreaction because I think it's gone too far. But in the geospatial market, it's grown over the last 15 years and it's for about 12 to 15% a year. So it's growing about that. It's not... It doesn't have that sexy appeal. It's not venture capital exciting.
But it's more long term.
It's more long term. It's more sustainable, and it actually solves a problem. Whereas a lot of being able to write a fancy email or write a book in 2 minutes, is it really solving a problem?
Yeah. It really depends on the use, though.
Yeah.
And also the person who's using it.
Of course.
I think in the last 2 podcasts, I talked about that as well. Like, the machine won't function unless the humans do. Like, it's only helping you, but you're actually the person who operates that.
I think with AI, we use AI to clean data, which is a boring job.
Yes.
And I think that when people I want AI to do the dishes. I don't want it to go for dinner for me. So basically, I want it to do the jobs I don't want to do.
Yeah.
But I still want to have my life and enjoy my life. You know what I mean? I think that's what I think is the case. Yeah.
Only if we can do that. Anyway, it's 40 minutes, Martin. Nggak kerasa
I told you. I bet you've not
kerasa
got best question 3.
I know, because the host promised.
I saw that. When she sent me that, I was like, diatribe of questions. I said to Miranda, we're going to be there all day.
3 hours. We're going to do the second part for this. Please, Komar, sediakan 6 kamar.
Part 2.
We're going to do part with Martin, okay? Wait until your Singapore office is grand opening, and then we'll talk about that. But now, at the moment, we want you to give some encouragement for entrepreneurs and tech enthusiasts. Do you have anything to say to them?
Yeah, I think with everything, you need to separate the reality and the hype. You know, there's so many things out there that, it's like crypto. Everyone's a crypto bro. But how many people are making money out of crypto?
Yeah,
realistic. We got to be realistic in everything. So I think one of the big problems is a lot of the founders have been pushed down the avenue of 10x, 20x, 30x. It's impossible. We've doubled our revenue every year, and that's hard enough. It's bloody hard. In a business like ours, it's really difficult. So for somebody to say, oh, you've got to 10x next year and 10x the year, it's not going to happen. So I think realism is very important, and I think understanding the economics. When I hear a venture capitalist said to me, oh, it's not our fault, interest rates went up. I'm like, did you not learn about interest rate cycles at your Ivy League university? This is not an excuse. You've got to understand how economies work. And things are not always great. Interest rates are not always zero. So you've got to plan for if my interest rates go up, what's the risk? You've got to look at these risks involved and don't just copy everyone else. And also, I think it's very important, there is nothing wrong with getting a job when you're young. The problem has become, I see, everybody wants to be a founder. Yeah. This isn't for everybody. I'm in my 40s. I started this when I was 42. I've never been as stressed in my life. I don't believe most people. I started with 2 partners. Both of them were not up to it, to be honest, despite the fact one of them has a very big brand. Both of them were not willing to put the work in, and they didn't realize how hard it was going to be.
It's tough for you then.
I don't think most people are going to put the hours in that I do, and so therefore, and I find this hard. 15, 20 years ago, I had a job and I got paid well for it, and that was good. So having a job's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The world cannot absorb it. So if you have a real passion for something and you want to do something, but what I see is people haven't got a passion for anything. They want to be a founder. So if you want to, and you're trying to think of what to found, on what should we do? We'll just copy this idea out of the US and we'll get some VC money. This doesn't work necessarily.
Okay.
And if you're relying on VC money at the amounts that some of these companies are, of course you're going to have a problem when the money dries up. Because at the moment I'm aware of several unicorns that probably won't last the next 3 months because they need to raise more capital to survive. So you've got to actually have, business is about business, not about raising money. And it's become completely a situation where everybody's obsessed with being a founder and raising money. So make sure if you're going to do a business that you have a passion for it, because it's not going to be a normal life.
See? It's hard. It's going to be hard.
I don't have idle footery. I was working all day yesterday. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's right. I'll be working tomorrow.
That sounds scary to me.
Well, this
to be
is the
honest
reality.
With you.
Well, I've invested millions of dollars in my own money. And I made the money. I didn't get the money from my family. I made the money myself. So it's a very different situation, I guess, to most people. I don't have a get out.
And not everybody is ready for that.
Well, I don't have a get out clause. I mean, I can't just say, oh, this has all gone wrong, and now I'll become an advisor at Anantara, like other people can. You know, it's not really possible for me to do that, right? Or any other company, right? That's right. I've got my own money in the business, and my other money that's not mine is my very close friends. So it increases the stress levels. And people say when you're doing a VC back business, 10 in 1 chance. You see many people 2, 3, 4 times founder. I would give up after 3, mate. You know what I mean? But there's no accountability for it. I think that them days may be over. So I think you've got to look at, are you really willing to put that time and that commitment in? I don't think I was at 24. So why are most of the founders 24? When I was 24, I was going to the bar, I was having fun, I was hanging around Tokyo, I was a very young banker, I just bought myself a Porsche. That's what I wanted to do when I was 24 years of age.
But then you were learning something from that.
Of course I was learning something from it, but the point is, would I have done it? Everybody who comes out of university who's got wealthy parents thinks they want to be a founder. Well, are they willing to put the hours in that I put in? Or they want to be a venture capitalist? What is their background in knowledge of finance to be a vencer capitalist?
I believe many are not, right?
What, many are?
Many are not that committed.
I don't think so. I don't.
They just want to look fancy.
People see, I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that people see this glamorous lifestyle in founding and startup world. It is absolutely the opposite. It's the opposite. Right? Yeah. I have less money than I had 20 years ago. So, yeah.
Yeah, I believe that. It makes sense. It makes sense at all with all the risks that you're taking and all the
that's the fact. So let's look at the honesty here.
Bahkan seorang Martin aja sekarang duitnya nggak lebih banyak waktu dia umur 20-an. But then you have more than just money in yourself, which is what makes you valuable.
I've got a lot in assets, but not in money. But unfortunately, I can't go to a bar and go, can I have a bottle of wine, please? And they say, oh, that's 1 million. And I say, I don't have 1 million, but I do own a company. I'll pay you in a few years. Doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. Okay, that's very interesting.
Asset rich, cash poor, I think.
Okay, last but not least, tell us about BVT. How can we reach out to you, or how can we know more about your location? Yeah, it's actually very interesting.
Yeah, so basically, you can find us on any social media. Our website is www.bvata.com, which is so Bravo, Virgo, Alpha, Romeo, Tango, Alpha.com. And we are on LinkedIn. You can find me and you'll see.
I saw you. Yeah. You're on LinkedIn Premium, so I saw you.
I am, yeah.
1,000 followers.
Of course, he's very famous and influential. That's why we invited him to Kamar Koma.
I'm very annoying to some people. But
No. We're very proud of having you today. It's a pleasure for us.
But yeah, I mean, we're on obviously LinkedIn, on any kind of, and you can reach out to also sales@bvata.com as well.
Email,
Email, and
recruitment. HR.
Recruitment. Right.
I mean, these days.
Let's get this straight. Recruitment, right? Don't contact me about recruitment, okay? It's recruitment, as in the word recruitment, @bvata.com.
Oh, kirim CV kamu ke sana. Jangan reach out ke dia ya.
But don't reach out to me, I'm tired.
Udah pusing dia kasihan. Yuk, kamar-kamar kita biarkan.
I literally get 50 CVs a day. No.
What do you do to that? Spam.
No, I just have a cut and paste. Please follow the instructions. Well, cut and paste. Please follow the instructions. I don't have time to.
I believe you have the default copy.
Because that's what you said. That's your strategy, isn't it? What you just said. It's like people think by contacting directly, they're going to skip the queue. But I'm not a tech person.
Indonesians are like that.
Well, I know, and that's why half things don't work. That's a problem.
Gak gitu, guys. Gak gitu ya.
I think. I've had a problem in my own company doing this before, because in my own company before, I allowed this to happen in some cases.
Okay.
But now I'm very strict, and we have a very strict, for software recruitment, software development, for example.
Yeah.
They all have a test from the CTO now.
It has to.
It's all, we've had this jobs for the boys in BVT and it hasn't worked. You know, we've recruited some of the wrong people because we've had jobs for the boys, and yeah, that strategy of like, I know him, he knows he's good. Sometimes it can work, but I think that's a problem here. You know, it doesn't always pan out. So we have a proper exam, proper test, and everything. And BVT is a meritocratic. The number 2 in our company is a 28-year-old lady. She's hardcore, like little retriever. You know.
I can imagine what she is like. Even your assistant is very brilliant.
She has to deal with me. She's not my assistant. She's not my assistant.
Wait. Really?
Yeah. She works as BD.
Oh wow! BD. See, she's very humble. I mean,
what do you want her to do?
I want to be in your team. I want to be in your team. I mean, okay. Anyway, kalau kamar-kamar kita biarkan.
I don't have an assistant because I've got nothing to really do. I used to have an assistant.
You don't?
I used to have an assistant, but you
do have assistant, right? Ini ada. Kita nggak bisa ngeliat kamera. Mbak Dani punya assistant kan? Kamu juga nggak punya, Mbak?
No.
We don't all have assistants.
You need an assistant.
No, we don't. They have one guy in their group.
You're so strong, Mbak. You're so strong. You don't have an assistant, really?
What do you need an assistant for?
You should hire one to bring your laptop and to tap in your calendar.
And that's why. That is the problem. So I used to have one, and I realised that's all they were doing, which is a bit of a problem. All they used to do was order me junk food, and I really like them as a person, but yeah, I don't have requirements for it, and I don't really need somebody to carry my laptop.
I know, that's just metaphorically. Of course, not bringing.
No, it's not metaphorically.
No, it is.
No.
Assistant can help
I won't mention who, but usually I'm with a girl called Miranda, who I think arranged this.
Oh, okay, you mentioned her name.
So Miranda is she's not my secretary or anything. She's corporate secretary, but she's also investor relations. So she works closely with me, and sometimes we go to events, and it's quite funny because the person I'm speaking with may be quite a high-ranking person or son of somebody, and they're just like throwing stuff at the girl behind them, throwing stuff.
That's rude.
And Miranda said, "I'm glad you don't do that." Throwing this. Like, where's my cigarettes? This. Like, what? Yeah. So it happens. It happens.
I hope it doesn't happen to you. Okay.
No.
Anyway.
Nobody would listen. That's the problem. People, if I tell Miranda, can you get that? She go, do it yourself, mate. It's the first time we've been on a trip together, but no.
Okay, we'll keep talking after this, but for now, let's close this Kamar Komar. Istirahat dulu Martinya. Ketemu lagi di Kamar Komar berikutnya. I'll see you guys. Thank you.
Bye.